I'm telling you, man, they're in absolute debacle. So, all right, let's move it along here, man. That was a fun conversation, though. Appreciate everybody contributing there in the chat as well. Matthew Golden, we talked about it. We cut a video yesterday. You guys could check it out right here on the channel. The golden era has begun. PFF Fantasy tweeted this out: most receptions of 20 plus yards on Sunday. DK Metcalf had 4 catches of 20 yards or more on each of those catches. Second was Matthew Golden with 3, tied with Jackson Smith and Jigba with 3. Guys, when you're starting to get your rookie first-round wide receiver mentioned in the likes of DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba, it's exciting stuff, man. I didn't expect him to be this effective this early. I thought second half of the season, he will have taken his lumps in the first half. Second half of the season, I'm expecting something from you, bub. You got to play like a starting caliber wide receiver. It literally took, really 3 games, and it was, okay, here we go. And again, it all comes down to the attitude too, right? Like how you handle success. Coach McCarthy used to say this all the time. He used to say, it's more important how you handle success than failure, right? Matthew Golden seems to have the right mindset for handling this early success for sure. What do y'all think about him? And again, when you talk about that speed that so many people, when we draft him, I just don't see it. I've watched the tape and he doesn't look that fast. I don't know. He looked pretty damn fast to me, juking people out of their jocks the other day, and obviously being one of 3 players with this many receptions of 20 yards or more on Sunday.
I mean, I think about it this way: we haven't seen nothing yet.
I was going to say
everything we've seen. I mean, we ain't seen nothing yet. Matthew Golden I think he's the real deal. Like Holmes is saying there, he's the truth. And you can see how he contributes to the team, even without the touchdowns. We want the touchdowns. They're going to come, obviously. But, man, did we move the sticks with Agent Zero in that game on Sunday. And I think he's going to continue to build on that going forward.
Steve in the chat says, wait till Watson and Golden are out there together, Jacob. That's going to be so exciting, man.
Absolutely. And I think what's more going under the radar is like what Jen Wright says about him. He has 2 golden gloves for hands. I will take that farther to say that I think it was on the national broadcast where they said that Packers organization has said that he has the strongest hands out of anybody in that wide receiver room, which is pretty incredible when you think about the guys that he's in there with. And to Tim's point, we've only just scratched the surface with this guy. We've talked about it for weeks and weeks now, about how he's leading the league in separation, how he's so quick off of the line, how he just seems to have kind of FBI way above his years for where he is right now in the NFL. And he's not just a one-trick pony. He's not just a guy that flashes down the road, down the field, try to just get separation. I would probably have somebody in the chat correct me on this, but I thought I saw a stat during the broadcast where the last 3 games he has like 10 to 13 catches. I think it was 197 yards, averaging like over 10 per. Like he's starting to put it together. And to Clayton's point, I did not expect this to happen until post week 8, where he kind of
put the team on my back, dude.
And I just am blown away by the way that his maturation up to this point, and him not also getting too big of a head when these plays start to come. I think it's nice that we're slowly leading him into fandom, or I should say stardom, because I think that the opportunity, he's shown consistently that he's a rookie, but he doesn't have rookie mentality.
Yeah, I think it's very well said. Read those comments for me just a second. I'm going to pull up a clip here that actually I have one on the screen there. Read that one if you don't care, Jake.
At Tatchison says late hands on that sideline catch was golden. I completely agree with that. We've been pretty lucky to have guys like that for at least my whole lifetime. Guys that had Jordy Nelson, obviously Devontae Adams, that late hands, the ability to snatch a ball out of the air at the last second away from a defender is unmatched, I think.
Yeah. So we can only play 6 seconds of this clip. So we'll let it loop a couple times and we'll get it out. Okay. It shouldn't trigger. Keep that comment up for me, Jake. That'll help a little bit too if you don't care. Did we lose it? Sorry if we did. Yeah, just throw it back up there for me. So this is the play he's talking about, the late hands play, okay? So first of all, an absolutely perfect throw by Jordan Love. Look where he puts this ball. And look at the late hands. Watch him. Just kind of waiting. Now the hands go up.
Wow.
Bang.
Dime piece throw, J Money. My goodness.
Unbelievable throw, Tim. We're gonna show it one more time, guys. Look at the placement of this ball. Watch him just let that thing rip. And again, the placement, you couldn't put it in a better play. You can't throw that ball any better. And the fact that he trusts Matthew Golden, and obviously Matthew Golden has the confidence in himself to make that catch. And again, that was in the first quarter, I believe, right? That was Love to Golden. I'm trying to think. That was second quarter. That was the second quarter, and that was a 3rd and 10 play, if I remember correctly, too. So when the money is on the table, Jordan Love looking for Golden. You love to see it, man. Let's see here. This is kind of tough. But I understand where you're coming from, Jason, because this is kind of how I feel. And the guys may disagree. I want to get their take on this real quick. He said it's hard to admit, but having Matthew Golden on the roster makes it easier to let Romeo Doubs walk. And I think I think what Jason's saying here too is for the right price, Jason, I'm sure you want Romeo back, right? I know I do. But if Romeo is going to warrant number 1 receiver money, it is what it is. You got to let him walk. Matthew Golden, here's what I could see in the future. If we remove Romeo Doubs from this offense, what I see is Matthew Golden in the X. I see Jaden Reed in the F or the slot, and then Christian Watson in the Z, and you're good to go. Dontavion Wicks is under contract for another year. There's your kind of backup utility guy that can play the X, he can play the slot, and so on and so forth. I don't want to see Romeo Doubs leave. I want to be very clear. However, if you've got to pay him number 1 money, it's just not going to happen in Green Bay, right? And we've talked about that. I don't want to rehash that conversation of how much money is he worth and this and that, but I understand where Jason's coming from. What's your all's thoughts on
that? Man, I don't want to see him go whatsoever, and I think that he has done a lot for this team, specifically putting the team on his back, dude, kind of stuff. Where obviously the injuries to Reed, to Watson, and not just this year, other years past, where he's kind of been steady Eddie, and he goes in there and he makes, I think, a lot of underrated plays, and maybe plays that people forget, like third and 6s, 3rd and 7. You know what I mean? Like, and he can make acrobatic catches. He can be more of a possession receiver. I think he's got a lot more in the tank when it comes to yak than people give him credit for. Now, all that being said, this wide receiver room is so deep that Matt LaFleur touched on it, being like, we got a lot of guys that want to eat. They want to touch the ball. It is really tough when you think about the fact now when you add in Savion and obviously Golden. I mean, we already had 4 or 5 consistent receivers and a really great backup crew. If you look at guys like Heath and everybody like that, I mean, it's just the type of thing where there can only Green Bay at this point, it's really going to be tough for guys to get 100-yard games if you're a wide receiver. You know what I mean? It just is, because you're going to, unless you're Matthew Golden and you're catching it at 30 yards per catch, like, it just is going to be tough. So in that aspect, I understand the argument. I really do, especially if he comes back and he's like, hey, man, I'm going to need some real money. At that point, I think that's where we have the conversation. But at this point, I'm not ready to say I want to let him go at all. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, it's a business, right? You're gonna have to have those uncomfortable conversations at the end of the day. I agree with what you said. I share that sentiment. You guys know that I'm a huge Rome fan, and I'd like him to play his whole career here in Green Bay. But at the end of the day, you know, it's a business. And one thing I would add to Jacob's point is, you know, he's one of our top red zone weapons. Really, if you look past these past couple of seasons, I feel like, you know, Jordan Love is really comfortable looking for 87 inside the red zone on a lot of these looks. And, you know, Rome answers the bell more often than not. And one of our contested catch masters on this team. And I hate to see him go, but I understand if they have to let him walk, right? Because we can't keep all these guys forever. You know, it'd be nice to have, you know, 200 talented wide receivers on your team every year, but you can't pay them all, you know?
Yeah, Joe Pack in the chat says Rome is Love's Cobb. I can understand that. To me, though, it kind of feels like you could see Matthew Golden earning that respect, that trust in Jordan. And you can't keep everybody. That's just the reality. Especially like somebody mentioned in the chat about Tucker. You're going to have to sign Tucker sooner or later, right? Yep. If it comes down to you got to choose this player or the other player, if it comes down to Romeo Doubs or Tucker Kraft, I'm going with Tucker Kraft over Romeo Doubs and keeping Matthew Golden. Right now, if you're one of these people that want to keep Romeo, I get it. I understand, man. It seems like he converts on just about every third down. Other than this last game, it was all Matthew Golden on third down. Right? Holmes says, "Not me. Romeo would get 3 years, $45 million from me. I can't listen.
Pay
I can't
that
argue
man his money.
whether he's worth it or not, but I respect the opinion for sure. And Chris Casual Win says the same thing, man. I love Romeo. So, yeah, Romeo's a fan favorite. There's no doubt about it. Back to Matthew Golden, though. Guys, make sure you go vote. If you go to the Packers Twitter page, you'll see it says you need to vote for Matthew Golden for Rookie of the Week. You can click on the image. That'll send you directly to NFL.com. I've already voted about 17 times. So make sure you do your due diligence here. All right. Go vote for Matthew Golden for Rookie of the Week there in the NFC. So how cool is that? I mean, we were talking about this with Edgerrin Cooper last year, right? He won.
Yeah.
I want to say he won Player of the Week, though, didn't he? Twice. And he won Rookie of the Week, I think, once or twice as well. But yeah, it's exciting to see what Matthew Golden is doing for sure, man. Go ahead, Jake.
No, I was just gonna say Treos was gonna ask in regards to Rome, saying who's gonna actually pay him wide receiver one money respectfully.
I
That's
a
good point. Yeah.
I don't think anyone will. However, if he hits the open market, I could see someone outbidding the Packers simply because you look at their receiving core.
Yeah.
You know, you got Matthew Golden, you've got Jaden Reed, right? You got Christian Watson under contract for 2 years. To me, that's the blueprint. That's your 3 starters moving forward. Now, the rumor is they've offered Romeo Doubs a contract, right? So they did offer him a contract, but it's very team friendly. If he accepts a team friendly deal of $10 million per, hell yeah, sign me up. Romeo, you're talking about being 5 and 6 deep, especially if Savion continues to come on, man, with his game. Tim, Savion on returns too is exciting, and I love the fact that Savion and Bo, it seems like they're going to start to get a few more touches on special teams. Now you don't have to worry about Matthew Golden being back there as often, you know.
Or Romeo Doubs being back there. We've seen Dobby returning punts for us as well.
I don't like that. I don't like that,
Jan. Yeah, not a fan of that at all. Yeah, this is going to be interesting, man. It really is, because there's so much talent in this receiver room. And you're absolutely right about Savion Williams. You know, I think Matt's figuring out how to utilize him the best and get him involved. And it's an uphill battle when you're trying to get all of this talent involved in your game plan. You know, regardless of which phase of the game we're talking here, you want to get your guys out there contributing for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Trey Russ with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. Says, what do you think a comp would be money/production wise? I don't want to think about it, Trey. And there's no market value comp as it sits right now on Spot Track. Last time I checked, you guys, if it's changed, let me know. That's usually what I go off of. And most of the time, those numbers are a little bit of a low ball. Typically, players will get a little bit more than that. Yeah. But the reason I say I don't even want to think about the comp is because, again, when you try to create a comp for those type of players, every offense is different, right? Every coaching staff looks at receivers a little bit different. Are they more valuable than others? What's the depth look like coming on behind them, right? And we talk about all the time, progress stoppers. You hear that and you think, oh, that means that Romeo Doubs is keeping the Packers from being successful. No, that's not what it means. It means he might be the best choice right now, which I think we would agree with. He probably still is the best choice at receiver, but you're keeping reps away from the young guys who could maybe have a higher ceiling, right?
Yeah. Or no ceiling if you're Matthew Golden.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, another thing to think about too, assuming that there's truth to the rumors that there's an offer on the table. You know, if we look at Goody's track record, we don't tend to make counter offers. We tend to, you know, offer a player a contract. I mean, ask Elton Jenkins how that went this offseason.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point, Tim.
You know, so I fully expect, Rome's probably going to test the market unless we get some really good news here really soon, and he just takes that offer and remains a Packer. And you can do some, restructuring, maneuvering, other contracts to kind of keep a guy like him around. It's not impossible, but I would not anticipate a counter offer at all, or trying to maybe matching an offer perhaps, but I don't know,
Yeah, to kind of put some a little bit of what am I trying to say? So Turt L. McGrath, I still can't get over that. He said MVS got $10 million per when he went to KC. LOL. So that's just another example. Context is what I was trying to say.
Nowhere near. Let's be clear though. Nowhere near number one money. Right.
Nowhere near. But I don't think that MVS was anywhere near the type of player that Romeo Doubs has shown to be. Is that, you know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
I would expect that to be doubled at this point, and with the inflation,
Yeah, definitely. All right, that's going to do it for hour one.